The hour of convening having arrived, all members of the House will please report to the floor and take their seats. All members will report to the floor. The clerk will ring the bell. All members will report to the floor. We're about to have the call of the roll. We're going to have the call of the roll. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. Well, good morning. Legislative Day 20, halfway to the finish line. We will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the gentleman from the 172nd House District, Representative Sam Watson. Representative Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, it's my great honor today to introduce someone who's not only a great friend, but my pastor and my preacher. But before I introduce him, I'd like to recognize his lovely wife and high school sweetheart, Miss June Woods. Would you please stand so everybody can recognize you? Pastor Wayne is originally from Louisiana, but grew up in Alabama. He attended Vanderbilt University and then transferred to the United States Naval Academy, where he received a degree in engineering management. In 1984, he and his wife June committed their lives to the ministry, and he received a Master of Divinity from Mid-America Baptist Theological Seminary in Memphis, Tennessee in 1987. He's had the honor and privilege of serving three great churches. One church was here in Georgia, First Baptist Church, Alma. He was there for 10 years. He also served Grace Baptist Church in Oxford, Mississippi for 12 years. And we've had the honor of having him in Moultrie for the last 6 years at First Baptist Church, Moultrie. But when I'm home, Pastor Wayne and I spend a lot of time together, usually on Friday mornings at a 6 a.m. Bible study. And he is definitely a man of God and has a heart for the ministry. He's not only a leader in our church, but a leader in our community, and just encourages all of us to find ways to minister to others and to serve others. However, I will tell all of you this, he does have one flaw. Most church members ask their pastor to pray for them, but in Moultrie we are constantly praying for our pastor that the good Lord will lead him to a different football team. Mr. Speaker, I apologize, but he's an avid Alabama fan, hardly ever misses a game, but he also spends a lot of time looking at God's wonderful creations in the deer woods as well. And I hope you enjoy his message today, Pastor Wayne Woods.
Good morning. Speaker Ralston, Representative Watson, honorable members of the Georgia House of Representatives, it's with a great sense of humility and appreciation that I stand before you today as your guest chaplain. I believe the Bible is clear in directing me as a Christian that I should give an urgent priority to, as 2 Timothy 1:2, verses 1 and 2 says, to make petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving for all of those who are in places of God-ordained authority, which I fully believe you are. I admit to you that I've not always been as faithful to that cause I should have been, and I ask both for your forgiveness and for God's grace to be more faithful in the future in that vital area. You and your family sacrificed much to serve us as Georgians. Having served for a time myself on the local Bacon County School Board several years ago now, I understand that your job is not nearly as easy as most of us citizens want to believe that it is. I also believe that you serve yourself not only to represent the citizens of your individual districts and the citizens of the great state of Georgia, but I believe you actually serve at the pleasure of God Himself. The Bible teaches us in Romans 13, verse 1, that we all must submit to the governing authorities, for there's no authority except from God, and those that exist are instituted by God. God is the sole ultimate sovereign authority over all His creation, including all of us human beings, who are uniquely created in His own image and likeness. And God has divinely chosen to delegate His authority in certain areas to the institutions of the home, the church, and government. He is the source of your authority. The purpose of such delegation is that as government leaders, you yourselves, as God's ministers or God's servants, as the Bible says in Romans 13:4, your God-given authority has been delegated to you for the primary purpose of rewarding good and punishing evil, both made necessary by the disobedient, rebellious heart of man that brought the effects of sin upon all of God's creation and His creatures. Government was ordained by God in such a fallen world we live in to be a restrainer of evil and a promoter of good. I think you'd all agree that's a very difficult task to faithfully complete. All the more reason we Christians must be faithful to pray for you, to have His wisdom and courage. The response I believe God expects from us as Christians to your divinely delegated authority is submission. For me, that means I owe those serving in government the respect and honor that your positions deserve. It means that I should cooperate with and support you in every way possible, save those times when doing so would be a direct violation of a clear commandment of God. Even then, I should follow the example of men like Daniel, who lived in a land not his home, in a godless society and a heathen culture. But rather than sitting on the sidelines and bemoaning his lot in life, he and his 3 Jewish friends decided to seek the welfare of the Babylonian king, Nebuchadnezzar. They honored their government leaders and worked hard to make the country a better place for all to live, while never sacrificing the integrity of their faith. They would not bow down to worship a false god. They would not stop their daily practice of communing with God in prayer. They would take a stand for their faith when the time came, even if it meant death. They understood the difference in their calling as the people of God and the calling of government as servants of God, and together they made a real lasting difference, the same kind of difference that we need to make in our world, in our beloved state of Georgia today. I'll close with this statement that I read just a few days ago now that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote in Strength to Love. He said this: the church must be reminded that it's not the master nor the servant of the state, but rather the conscience of the state. That's what I believe our country desperately needs, and our Christian faith clearly demands. A people who are not withdrawn from the government, but who are engaged with it in faithful ways. That's what this country preacher pledges to you, the honorable men and women of the Georgia House of Representatives today. May God bless you and thank you for the high honor and privilege of addressing you this morning. Would you join me in prayer? Our gracious God and Father, all-powerful Creator, sovereign King of the universe, Savior and Sustainer of all mankind, we come before you this day with grateful hearts for all of your manifold blessings, not the least of which is the blessing of being a citizen of one of the greatest states and the greatest country in the world. We still believe that you abundantly shed your grace on our country for the purpose of making us a lighthouse in a dark world, a beacon of goodness and justice and hope in a sea of hopelessness. Please forgive us where we have failed your purpose for us. Lead us to a place of genuine repentance and return us to the principles of the sanctity of every human life and of biblical marriage and family that I believe are the requisite building blocks of any society that you will greatly use for the good of your creatures and the glory of your kingdom. Father, help these very gifted, very special men and women to understand, embrace the grand significance of their calling as your servants, and help us to love and support and pray for them as we should as your people. In the life-transforming name of our risen, living Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. Chair recognizes Chairman Chokus, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journals of the previous legislative day and have found them to be correct.
Chairman Chokus, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. O'Neill, the 146, move that the following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 427 by Representative Geisinger, the 48th, and Taylor, the 79th. Bill will be entitled an act to amend Chapter 38 of Title 43, the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to operators of private detective businesses and private security business.
Regulated industries.
House Bill 428 by Representative Stevens, the 164th. The bill being entitled an act to amend Code Section 48-8-3, the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to exemptions from sales and use tax.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 429 by Representative Stevens, the 164th. The bill being entitled an act to amend Chapter 24, Title 33, the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance generally.
Insurance.
House Bill 430 by Representative Estration of the 104th, Atwood of the 179th, Reeves of the 34th, Lumsden of the 12th, Ballinger the 23rd, and others. A bill being entitled an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 17, Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to search and seizure.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 431 by Representative Shaw, the 176th, Carter the 175th, Corbett of the 174th, and Sharper the 177th. A bill being entitled an act to authorize the governing authority of Lowndes County to levy an excise tax.
Intragovernmental coordination.
House Bill 432 by Representative Raffensperger the 50th, Willard of the 51st, Geisinger the 48th, Brooks the 55th, Mitchell of the 88th, and others. A bill being entitled an act to amend Chapter 36 of Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to annexation.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 433 by Representative Cook of the 18th, Hightower the 68th, Smith the 70th, Nix the 69th. Bill being entitled an act to amend Chapter 8 of Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Department of Community Affairs.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 434 by Representative Reeves the 34th, Cooper the 43rd, Evans the 42nd, Kelly the 16th, Carson the 46th, and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 51 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the general provisions regarding torts.
Judiciary.
House Bill 435 by Representative Pack of the 108th and Harrell of the 106th. Bill being titled, an act to amend Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to revenue and taxation.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 436 by Representative Clark of the 101st, Cooper the 43rd, Sims the 123rd, Kaiser the 59th, Hawkins the 27th, and others. Bill be titled, an act to amend Chapter 17 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the control of venereal disease.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 437 by Representative Jones, the 167th, and Atwood, the 179th. The bill being titled, an act to amend an act creating the Brunswick-Glenn County Joint Water and Sewer Commission.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 438 by Representative Braxtonberger of the 50th, Wilkinson the 52nd, Bentley of the 139th, Willard of the 51st, Jones the 47th, and others. The bill being titled, an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 21 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to ethics in government.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 439 by Representative Shaw of the 176th, Abrams of the 89th, England of the 116th, Hatchett of the 150th, Knight of the 130th, and others. Bill being titled, an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding insurance.
Insurance.
House Bill 440 by Representative Glanton of the 75th, Dungeon of the 25th, Stovall of the 74th, and Casas of the 107th. Bill be titled, an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the imposition rate computation exemptions from state income taxation.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 441 by Representative Fleming of the 121st, Harbin of the 122nd, Dungeon of the 25th, Sims of the 123rd, Coleman of the 97th, and others. Bill be titled, an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to elementary and secondary education.
Education.
House Bill 442 by Representative Gassaway the 28th, Ramsey the 72nd, Quick of the 117th, Abstration of the 104th, Brockway the 102nd, and others. Bill be titled, an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 10 and Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the abuse of governmental office.
Governmental Affairs.
Senate Bill 4 by Senator Gucci the 51st, Williams the 19th, Mullis the 53rd, O'Rourke of the 36th, Ginn of the 47th, and others. Bill being titled, an act to amend Chapter 61 and Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to urban redevelopment for counties and municipal corporations.
Transportation.
Senate Bill 72 by Senator Mullis of the 53rd, Harper the 7th, Watson the 1st, Albers of the 56th, Say of the 34th, and others. The bill be titled, an act to amend Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to crimes and offenses.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
HB 396 by Representative Knight of the 130th, the bill relating to revenue and taxation. HB 397 by Representative Knight of the 130th, the bill relating to soil and water conservation districts. HB 398 by Representative Holmes of the 129th, the bill to amend an act to incorporate and grant a new charter to the City of Monticello. HB 399 by Representative Spencer of the 180th, a bill relating to county and municipal hospital authorities. House Bill 400 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, a bill to amend an act incorporating the town of Claremont and Hall County. HB 401 by Representative Abstration of the 104th, bill relating to early care and learning. HB 402 by Representative Lumsden of the 12th, bill relating to regulation of insurance rates and workers' compensation. HB 403 by Representative Jackson of the 128th, the bill to create a Board of Elections and Registration for Washington County. HB 404 by Representative Jackson of the 128th, the bill to abolish the office of County Treasurer for Glasscock County. HB 405 by Representative Quick of the 117th, the bill relating to the defense of the statute of frauds in contracts and marriage. HB 406 by Representative Parsons of the 44th, the bill relating to the Quality Basic Education Act. HB 407 by Representative Maber of the 63rd, a bill relating to pain management clinics. HB 408 by Representative Willard of the 51st, a bill relating to excise tax on rooms, lodging, and accommodations. HB 409 by Representative Taylor of the 173rd, a bill relating to insurance, general provisions. HB 410 by Representative Evans of the 42nd, a bill to amend an act creating the State Court of Cobb County. HB 411 by Representative Watson of the 172nd, a bill relating to weight and vehicles and loads. HB 412 by Representative Hamilton of the 24th, a bill relating to workers' compensation. HB 413 by Representative Turner of the 21st, the bill to amend an act creating Office of Commissioner of Cherokee County. HB 414 by Representative Brockway of the 102nd, a bill relating to elementary and secondary education. HB 415 by Representative Harbin of the 122nd, a bill relating to sales and use tax. HB 416 by Representative Rogers of the 29th, the bill relating to general provisions relative to professions and businesses. HB 417 by Representative Fry of the 118th, the bill relating to motor vehicles. HB 418 by Representative Reeves of the 34th, the bill relating to the qualifications for grand jurors. HB 419 by Representative Martin of the 49th, the bill relating to sales and use taxes. HB 420 by Representative Martin of the 49th, the bill relating to franchise taxes. HB 421 by Representative Nimmer of the 178th, the bill relating to disability allowances payable to personal for certain disabilities arising in the line of duty. HB 422 by Representative Nimmer of the 178th, the bill relating to membership and retirement system of employees of the Georgia Public Defender Standards Council, creditable services and contributions. HB 423 by Representative Caldwell of the 20th, the bill relating to contents and form of the budget report. HB 424 by Representative Harbin of the 2nd, a bill to authorize the governing authority of the City of Lafayette to levy an excise tax. HB 425 by Representative Chokas of the 138th, a bill to amend an act providing a new charter for the City of Americas. HB 426 by Representative Taylor of the 173rd, a bill relating to exemptions from sales and use tax. HR 425 by Representative Ralston of the 7th, resolution honoring the life of Mr. Roy William Beaver, dedicating an intersection in his memory. House Resolution 426 by Representative Gordon of the 163rd, resolution encouraging the Superior Courts to prefer the suspension of the service of a sentence of probation in cases pertaining to the offense of abandonment. House Resolution 450 by Representative Turner of the 21st, resolution creating the House Study Committee on Genetically Engineered Foods. Senate Bill 51 by Senator Burke of the 11th, the bill relating to pharmacists and pharmacies. Senate Bill 65 by Senator Stone of the 23rd, bill relating to exemptions for the purposes of bankruptcy and interstate insolvent estates, through second readers.
Reports of standing committees, the clerk will read. We have no reports of standing committees today. For what purpose does Representative Carson rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
I move that the rules of the House be temporarily suspended such that a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee.
Clerk will read the caption.
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Carson of the 46th. Bill to be entitled an act to amend certain titles of the Official Code of Georgia annotated so as to provide for comprehensive changes to the nature of taxation in this state. To amend titles 48, 36, and 46 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated.
On the gentleman's motion that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended to allow a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Chair hears none. It is so ordered. Ways and Means. We are about to go on to morning orders. We are about to go to morning orders. If you have signed up for a morning order, the chair is going to ask that you make your way to the front of the chamber. All other members of the House will give attention and respect to the member in the well. The chair recognizes for a morning order Representative Karen Bennett. Representative Bennett.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is my honor, and ladies and gentlemen of this House, to present to you a very special group that has come to visit with us this morning, and that is the high school located in DeKalb County, Stone Mountain, by the name of Elizabeth Andrews High School. And I'd like to have us recognize Elizabeth Andrews High School in the gallery, who is accompanied by the principal, Mr. Merlin Jones, the special assistant, Mrs. Andrea Russell. And I'd like to say particularly about this special school. This is a school that is non-traditional. It is a school that allows students to graduate, and they hold 4 graduations per year. Many of these students go on to attend our technical schools and our community colleges, and I'd like to thank you for welcoming this school, Elizabeth Andrews, to the House. Thank you.
Chair recognizes for a morning order Representative Ronnie Mabra. Representative Mabra. He's going to postpone for a few minutes. Chair recognizes for a morning order Representative Trey Kelly. Representative Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, I come to the well this morning with a saddened heart. On Saturday, Polk County lost our county commission chairman, who had a heart attack earlier in the week and passed away, Billy Croker. Many of you up here may know him. Billy was a long-time serving commissioner in Polk County and had been chairman multiple times for our community. He was a business owner, a commissioner, and overall just a champion for Polk County. So I'll just ask this House to please just join me in honoring him with a brief moment of silence. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You yield the well.
Chair recognizes for a morning order Representatives Regina Quick and Representative D. Dawkins Hagler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen of the House. Representative Dawkins Hagler and I are proud to be up here this morning. We both serve as state directors for Women in Government, and we're here in honor of a resolution that we've introduced to recognize September 28th through October 2nd as Malnutrition Awareness Week in the state of Georgia. We're going to leave the resolution down front here and would ask anyone who might like to sign to do so. This is a very important issue, and I'm honored on another level because of the efforts of our farmers markets and farmers in Georgia to fight this nutrition issue and nutrition problem. Of course, it's important for health care, but we are very fortunate in Athens as well to have the folks with the Athens Farmers Market participate in the SNAP doubling program, a wholesome wave all over the state. So this very important issue, we would ask your support in coming down and signing the resolution and your efforts in educating yourselves about this very important issue. Thank you, Ms. Speaker.
Chair recognizes for a morning order the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee, Chairman Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry for the delay. I have some good news to bring you today. Many of you know Linda Womack. She's been a long-term lobbyist for Emory. Linda has been critically ill and in the intensive care unit at Emory. I can tell you that she's had a good week. She was on the ventilator helping her breathe for a week, but she is now off the ventilator, although she still has a tracheostomy. But I hope that as we go forth, you will remember her in your thoughts and your prayers, and that she has come this far, but she's got a long way to go. And we'll let you know when we can have you call and check and send cards to her. Please, the flu and pneumonia this year are extremely bad. So Linda first had a backache, then she had a terrible headache, and she ended up in intensive care. If you think you are getting sick, and we have other members who are back today and I think can agree how bad this virus is, please seek medical attention and don't delay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Randy Nix for a morning order. Chairman Nix.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to recognize a group and an individual today, the Georgia Promise Partnership. This is an organization that's dedicated to reaching out to our students in high schools, usually those students who are at the greatest risk of dropping out, and connecting them up with people in the community who will give them jobs, help them get job training, and give them an opportunity to participate in the American dream. First of all, I'd like to recognize Mike Beatty, who is in the balcony up there. If he'd wave. I know a lot of you know Mike. He used to be the commissioner of DCA. Mike is now the executive director of the organization and doing a fantastic job. This organization goes out and gets the political, business, educational, and community leaders together to serve these young people, give them an opportunity to earn a paycheck. And as Mike will tell you, that is a life-changing opportunity for some of these young folks. It keeps them in school, gives them an opportunity to graduate. And I want to thank him for the work that he does. I want to recognize this organization. And I would like to tell you that Mike is taking this all over the state. If you would like to talk with him, you can get with me. I'll give you his contact information. But this is an organization that's dedicated to helping these students, to developing a workforce that we need in Georgia. And again, I want to recognize the Georgia Promise Partnership and thank them for being here. And if you're part of that in the balcony other than Mike, please raise your hand. We got a number of them up there. So thank y'all for coming and being with us today.
Mr. Chairman, you forgot the most important thing on Commissioner Beatty's resume. He's a former member of this House. Chair recognizes for a morning order Chairman Chokus and Chairman Reinders. Chair recognizes for a morning order Chairman Alan Powell. Chairman Powell. He's being joined by Representatives Terry Rogers and Representative Gassaway.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen of the House. Yesterday, if you didn't see the
Just
news,
a minute, Mr. Chairman. If you have business that's more important than giving attention and respect that you would want when you're in the well on a morning order, then I'm going to ask you to take it now outside the chamber.
Yeah, that's fine.
Gentlemen may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen of the House. I come to you this morning with a solemn heart, but I wanted to bring your attention to an event that happened yesterday. There was another case of domestic violence, and we had a sheriff up in Habersham County, Joey Terrell, and his deputy that had been investigating this case, and they were wounded in the line of action yesterday. Thank God that neither of them was a major inflicted wound. The perpetrator committed suicide after killing two other victims in this act of domestic violence. That being said, I wanted to bring your attention to this. When you see your law enforcement folks, thank them. There's probably nothing more than that they put themselves more in danger than in domestic cases. But thank them, and as they say, give them a hug when you see them. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Al Williams for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is with great sadness that Representative Randall and myself arrived this morning. On Saturday morning, the president of the Georgia Missionary Baptist Convention, Reverend Curtis Raines from Macon, died. He's been president the last 2 years of this organization that now approaches 600,000 members with many, many churches. He was a great preacher, he was a great pastor, a great influence in this state, and truly a servant of mankind who loved God. But he's gone home to be with the Lord. We would appreciate it greatly if you would share with us just a moment of silence for the family of Reverend Raines. Amen.
Chair recognizes Chairman Reinders for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, everyone. You know, we've got a lot of great Georgians, but I got to tell you, some of the greatest are right here in the balcony. Everybody wave their hand up there. That's leadership, Worth County, home of Peter Pan peanut butter. And you know what? The great leadership of Karen Rackley. I want everybody to stand up and give them a nice welcome to the House. We'll see y'all at lunch. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes for a morning order Representative D. Dawkins Hagler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning to all the members in this august body. Today I get to recognize and honor an organization that I am a part of, along with Representative Brian Prince and Representative Billy Mitchell, and that is Jack and Jill of America. Jack and Jill of America is a membership organization that was formed in 1938, and it is for mothers who have children between the ages of 2 and 19. Today we have the honor of having our 23rd national president present with us in the balcony, and her name is Tamara Turnley Robinson, and she will wave her hand along with our regional treasurer, which is Tracy Moss, and we also have children from different chapters in the state. We have Albany, Athens, Augusta, Atlanta, Buckhead, Atlanta, Columbus, Dunwoody, East Suburban Atlanta, which is my chapter, Fayette County, Greater Metropolitan, Greater North Atlanta, Lake Spivey, Macon, North Suburban, Savannah, and your chapter, Stone Mountain, your chapter, Augusta. So we welcome you, everybody from Jack and Jill of America. Come on, stand up and wave your hands so everybody can see you. Would you all please stand up and welcome my people from Jack and Jill of America?
Wonderful. Thank you. Good job.
We have some morning orders that are not quite ready. We will go on to those a little bit later this morning. The House will be in order. We're about to recognize some distinguished guests. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 405. House Resolution 405.
House Resolution 405 of Representative Dungeon of the 25th, Hamilton of the 24th, and Duncan of the 26th. A resolution commending Change for Georgia and inviting the group to be recognized by the House of Representatives and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Representative Dungeon for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my great privilege today to bring to you some amazing young people from my district, which are part of Change for Georgia. And this group has done for young people some unbelievable things. They've given 106,000 books to Title I underprivileged schools. They have raised almost $180,000 in scholarship money, including some for veteran returning members who go back to college. They sent hundreds and hundreds of letters and postcards to our veterans overseas. Well, you know what's amazing about this to me is this group of young people is young. The founder, Remington Youngblood, who's about to talk in a minute, started this when he was 10 years old. And these now are 8th graders who are doing this amazing community work in our community. So anytime you think about whether you can do something or not, think about the fact what some middle school guys who are unbelievable guys and girls are doing. At this time, I'd like to introduce the founder of Change for Georgia, Remington Youngblood. Can I sneak over here?
First, I would like to thank all the veterans in the room. So if you're a veteran, please raise your hand. There you go. Thank you for your service. Let's give them a round of applause. I would also like to thank Representative Dudgeon and Representative Hamilton for this distinguished honor. It really does take a village, and the members of the Georgia House and Senate, Lieutenant Governor Cagle and Governor Deal, are an important part of our organization. We are extremely grateful for your support in assisting our troops overseas and veterans and their families here at home. We have learned that success builds upon success, and that anything is possible if you believe in yourself and others, be willing to take risks and make sacrifices, grab determination by the hand, then don't let go. Remember, leaders seldom fly solo. It is by looking out for each other and ourselves that we look out for our country and the freedoms we all enjoy. 3 things we have learned to be true. Our voices define our character and are worth sharing. Our voices are we the people. They are the freedoms we will take with us wherever we go. And our voices, multiplied by our generation, will invoke constructive changes that will build a better America and transform our galaxy. Thank you.
Take your time. Yeah.
House will be in order. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 217. House Resolution 217.
House Resolution 217 by Representative Gardner of the 57th, Abrams of the 89th, Jones of the 53rd, Hughley of the 136th, Smyrie of the 135th, and others. A resolution commending Mary Long and inviting her to be recognized by the House of Representatives and for other purposes.
We got an invite resolution.
Good morning. I'm here to recognize a very good friend, Miss Mary Nathaniel Long. Mr. Clerk, will you read the resolution?
Whereas Mary Nathaniel Long was born in Guthrie, Kentucky in 1941, and she moved to Atlanta, Georgia in 1960 to be trained to the Grady Memorial Hospital School of Nursing, from which she graduated in 1963. And whereas she began her nursing career as an ambulatory care nurse at Grady and gained extensive experience volunteering at Atlanta's free clinics and assisting local health organizations. And whereas Mary Long was at the center of Grady's active efforts to reach the greater Atlanta community through participation in economic opportunity at Atlanta's health fairs in 1969, and she also helped to develop Grady's satellite clinics. And whereas she has served the Georgia Nurses Association and its philanthropic organization, the Georgia Nurses Foundation, as an active member and chairperson of the Governmental Affairs Commission, and whereas she gained experience lobbying the Georgia General Assembly over key Medical Practice Act legislation in 1980, and she was elected president of the Georgia Nurses Association in 1981, making her the first African American to hold that position. And whereas Mary Long became the Vice President for Legislative Affairs for the Arthritis Foundation in 1985, and in 1996, she was promoted to the Foundation's Group Vice President for Public Policy and Advocacy, a position she held until 2002. And whereas she coordinated lobbying and advocacy activities by supervising staff, overseeing the development of policy statements, and motivating and training staff and volunteers in chapters nationwide for involvement in the legislative process, both in their states and on the federal level. And whereas, as the first minority woman to lobby the Georgia General Assembly, Mary Long chaired the Georgia Nurses Association Political Action Committee before serving on the board of directors. Whereas she co-authored a chapter on state government for the Political Action Handbook for Nurses in 1985. And now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives that the members of this body commend Mary Nathaniel Long and invite her to be recognized by the House of Representatives.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I know all of you feel the happiness that comes into this room when Mary Long is here with us again. She's received many Lifetime Achievement Awards, but those who have served with her on the many community activities in Atlanta describe her as a courageous advocate with impeccable integrity, an enduring personality in the Atlanta community. You know, half the battle is getting there, and Mary was always there for all of us. The phrase that you've heard many times about bringing truth to power, I think that was created to describe Mary Long. Please join me in welcoming my good friend, Miss Mary Long. Thank you for being here.
We have another group of very distinguished guests that are visiting with us that we're going to recognize and honor. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 285. House Resolution 285.
House Resolution 285 by Representative Smith and 134th, Jaspers to the 11th, England to the 116th, Hardin to the 148th, Coleman to the 97th, and others. A resolution commending the 4-H clubs of Georgia, recognizing February 23, 2015 as 4-H Day at the Capitol, and inviting Mr. Ben Hancock, Mr. Arch D. Smith, and the 2014-2015 4-H leadership team to be recognized by the House of Representatives and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes for an invite resolution Representative Jaspers and Chairman Richard Smith. Representative Rick Jaspers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and our friends in the House. Today we celebrate leadership and Georgia 4-H. Chairman Smith, right down there, and I were county agents and worked with these great folks in agriculture and 4-H from the 5th grade up. It was a very rewarding career, and we commend the agents, the 4-H leaders, and program assistants, and especially those volunteer leaders who make the opportunity for 4-H to become a reality for thousands of kids every day. We got to work with these young people, like the ones we honor today, and it kept us young. Also going to Rock Eagle, and if you've got your little treat, little cheese straw on your desk, hope you enjoyed it. It's made at our dining hall at Rock Eagle. We got to eat good stuff like that. And I hope you take a moment also to look at our little brochure. You can see the impact of 4-H across the state. Today with us we have Arch Smith, if he'll raise his hand. He's our state 4-H leader. Dean Scott Angle, Assistant Dean Laura Perry Johnson, but most importantly, we have Ben Hancock from Irwin County, who was elected state 4-H president. And let's please welcome Ben as he brings a message from and for 4-H.
Good to have you with us. Hey, good to see you, Speaker. Thank you, Representative. Speaker Ralston, and ladies and gentlemen of the Georgia House of Representatives. Good morning. I'm Ben Hancock, an Irwin County 4-H'er and Georgia 4-H State President. I'm honored to be representing over 175,000 Georgia 4-H'ers today. Georgia 4-H started in 1904 in Newton County and was primarily focused on educating youth about agricultural topics. While I do not live on a farm, I do live in a community in which agriculture is all around me. Through my 4-H experiences, I have learned that a productive agricultural economy feeds, clothes, and shelters the United States and much of the world. Today, 4-H'ers can participate in livestock judging events, shooting sports competitions, performing arts, or prepare and demonstrate a project in many different areas. Cooking, photography, and sports are just a few examples. 4-H is inclusive of youth from all backgrounds, including different races, ethnic groups, and economic statuses, as well as youth from cities, small towns, and rural areas of the state. Georgia 4-H produces strong, confident leaders. Recently, I watched my younger brother compete for the first time as a 4-H'er, giving a speech on a topic that interested him. Before my eyes, I watched him as he went from a shy little boy to someone who was confident and not afraid to share his knowledge with others. 4-H'ers are able to travel around the state to attend camps, conferences, and other events at our 4-H centers. The largest and most frequented one is Rock Eagle 4-H. In fact, I consider it my second home. We are so thankful for the new cabins. Thank you for supporting county extension agents who influence and impact over 175,000 4-H'ers across the state of Georgia. These agents and program assistants give beyond what is required, working tirelessly in order to support youth and make the best better. On behalf of University of Georgia, College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, Cooperative Extension, and over 175,000 Georgia 4-H'ers, thank you for all that you do. Georgia 4-H is growing the next generation of leaders. It is because of your support that I know the future is bright. Thank you. Thank y'all. And thank you for everything you've done for 4-H.
You know that guy right over there?
Oh, yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
This House will be in order. House will come to order. Chair recognizes Representative Laricki to introduce the Doctor of the Day.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's indeed an honor to introduce our Doctor of the Day. Dr. Jim Barber is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon. He completed his undergraduate degree in computer science here at Georgia Tech and earned his medical degree from the Medical College of Georgia and his orthopedic surgery residency at Georgia Baptist. Dr. Barber moved to Douglas and Coffee County, District 169, where he's been practicing orthopedics for over 17 years at Southeastern Orthopedics. He's a 2009 graduate of Georgia Physicians Leadership Academy and 2011 Leadership Georgia graduate. He currently serves as chairman of the Georgia Medical Political Action Committee and secretary-treasurer of the Georgia Orthopedic Society. He's vice president of the South Georgia Physicians Association and Medical Association of Georgia board member and president of the Georgia Medical Society. His medical practice was awarded recently in Coffee County with the Small Business of the Year. The speaker and I had an opportunity to tour his state-of-the-art new surgery center in Douglas. And I can honestly say that it can do nothing but enhance and add value to the way that we provide health care, especially in orthopedics in our community. Now that's all what he does professionally and what he says on paper. But let me tell you who Dr. Barber really is. I am blessed to call him my dear friend and one of my brothers from another mother. He's a godly husband to his beautiful wife, Jessica, and father to his 3 daughters, Emma, Mary, Amelia, and Clara, all of which I have the opportunity to help to see grow spiritually in our church, and Dr. Barber and his wife serves faithfully. Dr. Barber gives back to God and our community in every way, and even though you may not be sick this morning, I would ask that you please visit him in the clinic, and I promise you, you'll be better for it. So on behalf of Representative Jay Roberts and myself, please help me give a warm house welcome to our Doctor of the Day and my friend and brother, Dr. Jim Barber.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be here. I want to thank you on behalf of the Medical Association of Georgia for your service to the citizens of Georgia. I want to thank you for your sacrifice away from your families during this time, and for your dedication to making health care better in Georgia. If there's anything we can do to help you, we would love to work with you, and thank you again. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Thank you. Always.
We are about to go on to the rules calendar. We're about to go to the rules calendar. We're about to take up measures and vote on them. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 121. House Bill 121.
House Bill 121 by Representative Hamilton of the 24th, to be titled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 21 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to primaries and elections generally, so as to require notice of write-in candidacy filings to include an authorization by the candidate if such filings are not done by the candidate. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Governmental Affairs, the committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Chairman Hamilton to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring before you House Bill 121. This is a Secretary of State's bill that has been worked on over the last 2 years by a Secretary of State Elections Advisory Council. And they brought it forward, and that's what this bill does. It covers 16 sections, and I'm not going to go through each section. but it's pretty much cleanup language that includes a lot of clarification and also where we had to comply with federal code. I would ask for your favorable consideration. Mr. Speaker, I'll be happy to answer any questions. If not, I'll yield the well.
You have a question if you care to yield.
Sure.
Chair recognizes Representative Williams to your right for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Absolutely.
I have not read your bill, but I have a concern, and the concern is this. A candidate that is filing for office not appearing for themselves to sign up to run for that office, and they send someone else down to do it for them. Is this somewhere in your bill
No, there's
forbidding
nothing
this?
in there. All this does is you may be referring to the section, which is section 1, where someone cannot qualify you to run as a write-in candidate unless they get your permission in advance.
Okay.
Right now, there's cases where people would qualify someone without knowing, and so a person appears as a write-in candidate without their approval to be on the ballot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You don't appear to have any other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd ask for your favorable consideration on this. Thank you.
The gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 121 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 121, the ayes are 169, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 70. House Bill 70.
House Bill 70 by Representative Hughley of the 136th. Bill to be titled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 3 of Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to state symbols. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Special Rules, the committee recommends that this bill do pass by substitute.
Chair recognizes the Minority Caucus Whip, Representative Hughley, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I'm honored today to bring House Bill 70 on behalf of the first graders of Reese Road Leadership Academy. This bill comes to us as a result of a Boy Scout project studying state symbols, and they discovered that Georgia is one of 3 states that does not have a state mammal, and they wrote to me and asked me to introduce their bill. And we have worked with the Department of Natural Resources. The children initially wanted the gray fox. But after working with the commissioner, they were convinced that the white-tailed deer should be the state mammal, and I ask you all to support their effort. And let me just say that Mr. Allison and the Special Rules Committee got an opportunity to hear directly from the children. They came and did their presentation, and their school has used this as an exercise to teach children that an idea can turn into a bill and how to access their government. And I hope you won't disappoint them this morning, and I encourage your favorable consideration. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You have questions. Do you care to yield?
I'll take a couple, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Al Williams to your left for a question.
Madam Whip, thank you and the children from Reese Road Elementary School for this bill. I do have a question, though.
Okay.
This past weekend, a young lady prepared for me some excellent venison cube steak and some great sausage.
Mm-hmm.
This will not impede my ability to continue to eat this fine-looking deer.
As you know, you can, we do have a deer season here, and the deer season will not be affected. One of the reasons the commissioner wanted us to choose the white-tailed deer is because of the economic impact that the deer has on this state, $890 million, and we bring deer hunters from all over because they're so popular. So we appreciate the hunters. As you know, if the deer population becomes too dense, it becomes problematic. So thank you for your question.
Great bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You have a couple more questions if you care to yield.
I'm going to take one more, Mr. Speaker.
All right, one more. Chair recognizes the chairman of the Agriculture and Consumer Affairs Committee, Chairman McCall, to your right for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Lady, yield.
I yield.
For a serious question.
Sure.
If this aggravating nuisance of an animal becomes a state symbol, is it at any point, kind of following along Representative Williams' question, is it ever going to be where we can't protect our property and crops and anything else just because it happens to be the state mammal?
According to the commissioner, the same rules would apply that apply to the deer population now. It's not going to become a protected class, if that's what you're asking. That won't happen.
And is it not further true that, along with what the commissioner said about the economic impact of these aggravating nuisances, that there is it not true, a drastic economic impact on agriculture and insurance companies in this state because of these state mammals?
You're right. I paid a lot of deer claims, but vote House Bill 70. I appreciate your consideration. I yield the well.
Lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 70 will vote aye. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Raccoons one day, white-tailed deer the next. I am really looking forward to tomorrow. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 70. The ayes are 163, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 177. House Bill 177.
House Bill 177 by Wilkerson in the 38th, to be entitled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 5, of Title 49 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to child abuse and deprivation records, so as to provide that certain school personnel who are required to report child abuse shall be notified upon receipt of such report. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Juvenile Justice, the committee recommends the same do pass.
Chair recognizes Representative Wilkerson to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. Today I bring to you HB 177. This bill passed out of this House unanimously last year as House Bill 914. This basically closes the reporting loop when we deal with suspected child abuse with DFACS. It does two things. One, when suspected child abuse is reported to DFACS, it gives DFACS 24 hours to report back to our school counselors and or the principal, letting them know they received the report. The second thing that it does is, after an investigation is done, it closes the loop by letting the school counselor know the resolution of the case, whether it was confirmed or unconfirmed. And this came about over some conference calls that happened over the last few years, dealing with some issues that we were dealing with DFACS and our children. So it is supported by both our school counselors as well as DFACS, and as I said, it came out of committee unanimously last year. I will take any questions.
You have no questions.
Thank you, and I ask for your favorable consideration.
Gentleman has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 177 will vote aye. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of House Bill 177, the ayes are 171, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. For what purpose does Representative Hawkins rise?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to request the rules to be waived.
You have a motion? Is that why you're rising?
Yes, sir.
State,
I do.
Okay, state your motion.
Request that the rules be waived and the bill be read for the first time and assigned to committee.
Clerk will read the caption.
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Hawkins, the 27th, to be entitled an Act to amend Part 7 of Article 10 of Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to watercraft held in inventory.
On the gentleman's motion that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended to allow a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Chair hears none. It is so ordered. Ways and Means. House Bill 63, House Bill 73, House Bill 246 will all be postponed to the next legislative day. The clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
The following two resolutions are being read for the first time and referred to the Committee on Rules, recognizing and commending the contributions to the Republic of Turkey and the Turkic American Federation of the Southeast, and inviting the Turkish delegation to be recognized by the House. Commending Roderick Cunningham for his efforts to assist victims of domestic violence and inviting him to be recognized by the House. The following resolution was reported favorably out of rules. Commending the Social Circle High School wrestling team and inviting them to be recognized by the House. Commending the Georgia Optometric Association and its outstanding service to the state of Georgia. Recognizing March 4th, 2015 as Children's Day at the state capitol. Recognizing June 15th as Not One Forgotten Men's Cancer Awareness Month. Commending the Keep Georgia Beautiful program and the 78 local Keep America Beautiful affiliates who organize hundreds of thousands of volunteers to improve in communities statewide. Commending Georgia State University student athlete Ronald Jordan R.J. Hunter for setting the school's all-time men's basketball scoring record. Honoring the life and memory of Mrs. Taretha Elizabeth Neely. Recognizing and commending the East Paulding High School Air Force Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps Drill Team. Recognizing and commending Matthew Capon King. Congratulating the Jefferson High School wrestling team on winning the Class AAA State Traditional Wrestling Championship. recognizing and commending the Commerce High School wrestling team on winning the state championship, honoring the life and memory of Virgil Emerson Adams, recognizing February 17, 2015 as Literacy Day at the State Capitol, commending Carolyn Waldrop, Mary Pearson's High School 2015 Star Student, commending Deborah Woodward, Mary Pearson's High School 2015 Star Teacher, commending Jack and Jill of America, and for other purposes. That completes the reading of privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. We'll be doing page photographs at the rostrum immediately upon adjournment. I'm going to ask that members line up with their pages now. We have a number of pages with us today, and we're pleased to have them here, but we don't want to have to go looking for members. No birthdays today. We have a couple of three announcements. The chair recognizes for an announcement Chairman Dempsey. Chairman Dempsey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On your desks, you received an announcement about the Boys and Girls Club's breakfast in the morning, and I just want to remind you about that. We will be so honored to have First Lady Sandra Deal there speaking, so I hope that many of you will be there to support that. And I know that so many of us have wonderful and powerful Boys and Girls Clubs in our districts and neighboring communities. They make a vast difference for the lives of our young people. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Chair recognizes Chairman Golick for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Judiciary Non-Civil will meet at 1:30 p.m. today in room 132. Judiciary Non-Civil at 1:30 p.m. in room 132. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Sharper for an announcement.
Thank you, Speaker. I know y'all don't see me, but if you could just listen to this announcement. We'd like to appreciate everyone that's been taking the photos with us with the doorkeepers every week. The color for Thursday is brown, so if you don't mind, wear your brown on Thursday and take a picture with the doorkeepers. Thank you so much.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Minority Caucus, Chairman Flood, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Democratic Caucus will meet tomorrow morning. A room change will be in room 406 at 8 o'clock. Please try to get there on time. We've got a special guest delivering a special presentation in the morning. So room 406 tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
Chair recognizes Chairman Rice for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Motor Vehicles Committee will take up final passage on a set of bills today at 1:30 in CLOB.
Chair recognizes Chairman Cooper for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Health and Human Services Committee will meet this afternoon in room 606, 3 to 5. Health and Human Services, 606, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Tanya Anderson for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The DeKalb delegation will meet today upon adjournment in room 605 LOB. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Dudgeon for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Academic Achievement Subcommittee of Education is meeting today at 3 o'clock. It's a room change to 506 CLB, hearing Senate Bill 2. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the chair of the House Appropriations Committee, Chairman England, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, if you would just pay attention to your emails. There may be a change of schedule on the subcommittees and full committee meeting. Subcommittees are scheduled in the morning to start meeting at 7, and the full committee is at 8 on Wednesday. But due to some late breaking information, we may need to postpone those shortly. So if you would, if we do, you will get a notice. If not, everything will continue as it is already posted. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Weldon for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There will be a Welch Subcommittee meeting in the Juvenile Justice Committee today at 2 o'clock in room 506 CLOB. That's Welch Subcommittee, 2 o'clock CLOB 506. Thank you.
That completes the announcements. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader of the House for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move this House now adjourned until 10 a.m. Tuesday morning, February 24th, 2015.
The Majority Leader has moved that this House be adjourned until 10 o'clock a.m. on Tuesday, February 24, 2015. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed will say no. The ayes carry the day. This House will be adjourned until Tuesday at 10 a.m.